So over the past 2 days, we talked about theoretical and experimental probability. And we also talked about this vocab term, relative frequency. And just as a quick refresher, remember when we're talking about probability, really we're talking about two types of probability here. We're talking about theoretical probability, and that's what we expect to happen. So when I flip a coin, I expect it to land on heads half the time and tails the other half of the time. Now, sometimes I'll do an experiment, or we'll do an experiment, and the theoretical probability that, in this case, 50% on heads, 50% on tails, doesn't always match my experiment results. In other words, I might flip a coin and see that, well, after 10 times, it landed on heads 7 times, not the expected 5 times. These results are called experimental probability, what actually happens when we try out this experiment. Now below we're going to complete a table and we're going to be finding the relative frequency of heads. So very similar to yesterday's assignment. And it's going to read, directions. A student tossed a coin 10 times and recorded her results below. Complete the table to find the relative frequency of heads. So in this left column, we have the number of tosses, 1 through 10. And in the right column, or the column right next to the number of tosses, we have the outcome, heads or tails. Now remember from yesterday's worksheet, to find a relative frequency, what we do is to take the number of heads, because in this case we're finding the relative frequency of heads, and we write it over and eventually divide by the number of tosses. So that's kind of the formula we're going to be using to find the relative frequency of heads. So for that first toss, we'll just look at that one. We have the outcome is heads, so total number of heads so far is 1. What's the relative frequency of heads? Well, 1 heads after 1 toss, 1 over 1, would equal 1. Let's look at that next one. Toss number 2, what's the result? Heads. That's 2 heads now because we have 1 heads from before and 1 heads now. 2 heads out of 2 tosses. Once again, if we simplify that, we end up with 1. So all we're doing is we're taking the number of heads and we're dividing by the number of tosses. Let's keep working through. How about that next one? Well, for the next one, we have, once again, toss number 3, another heads. So in this case, we're dealing now with a total of 3 heads. After how many tosses? 3 out of 3. Once again, we simplify and we get 1. So a bunch of heads starting off. Let's look at one more, and in this case we end up now with finally a tails. So on toss number 4 we end up with a tails. How many heads have we ended up with? Well, only 3, because here we ended up with a tails. So just 3 heads out of 4 tosses. 3 out of 4, and if we simplify that, we end up with 0.75. So we'll complete the table, so take a second and kind of work your way through and complete that table for the next 6 tosses. So the results for the first 9 tosses are recorded on the table, and the relative frequency of heads is shown in that last column to the right. Now for that last toss number 10, take a second and using the information from above, see if you can find the relative frequency of heads after the 10th toss. So the relative frequency of heads after the 10th toss would be 0.6. 6 over 10, once again, there were 6 heads after 10 tosses. 6 over 10 would give us 0.6. So we have our table recorded. And the first question below is going to ask us, what is the theoretical probability of a coin landing on heads? Now remember, theoretical probability is just what we expect to happen. So what do we expect to happen? Well, I expect that the coin will land on heads half the time and tails the other. So what's the theoretical probability of a coin landing on heads? Well, half the time, 0.5. And if you're saying, well, could I do it as 50%? That would work as well. Or 1/2. Once again, we're expecting the coin to land on heads half of the time. So we can use 0.5, 50%, or 1/2 to represent the theoretical probability. Now, what is the experimental probabilities in that second question? So now we're asked, what is the experimental probability of a coin landing on heads after tossing the coin 10 times? So above, we just tossed a coin 10 times, or the student tossed a coin 10 times. And what was the experimental probability of the coin landing on heads after tossing it 10 times? Well, to find that, we have to go and we have to look at this last row. After 10 times, the coin landed on heads 0.66 of the time. So what's the experimental probability? 0.6, 6/10, or 60%. And once again, yes, we expected it to land on heads 50% of the time, but after doing the experiment, we found the experimental probability was 0.6, 6/10, or 60%. So once again, the theoretical probability and the experimental probability can differ. So we have questions 1 and 2 answered, and now we'll move on to the next 2 questions. So question number 3 is going to ask us, what do you notice about the changes in the relative frequency of the number of heads so far as the number of tosses increases? So essentially we're saying, look at that last column to the right, and what do you notice about the relative frequency of heads? What do you notice about that number? So I'm going to list those relative frequencies in order from the first toss to the last toss, and then we can look at those numbers a little more closely. So I have these relative frequencies listed in order from first toss, represented by that one to the left, to that last toss we did, represented by that 0.6 to the right. Now what do you notice? Well, we notice there's change going on, and it kind of goes up sometimes and down sometimes and up sometimes. But let's look a little more general at the trend. So notice kind of the first couple tosses, the frequency of heads is really high. I mean, it happens each of the 3 tosses. By the 10th toss, though, notice the frequency of heads isn't as high. What kind of trend are we seeing? Well, kind of notice as we toss more and more, the relative frequency of heads decreases. In other words, heads occurs less times. So I'm going to add that in. What do I notice about the relative frequency of the number of heads? Well, it decreases as the number of tosses increases. So we have our answer for question 3 now. Well, let's use our answer from question 3 to help us answer question 4. What would you expect the relative frequency of heads to be after 200 tosses? Well, after 10 tosses, it seems like the relative frequency is decreasing. What do we think would happen after 200 tosses? What would the relative frequency of heads be? Take a second and think about that. Well, after 200 tosses, that's a lot of tosses. I would expect after 200 tosses that the relative frequency of heads would be very close to 50%. And why would it be close to 50%? Well, the theoretical probability of landing on heads is 50%, half of the time. Now after so many tosses, 200 tosses, I expect that the relative frequency would kind of even out. In other words, I would land on heads and tails about the same number of times. After that many tosses, it seems like the theoretical probability would begin to become a little more clear. Doesn't always happen after 2, 3, 4 tosses because we don't have enough tosses to really allow that theoretical probability to appear, to have the number of tosses kind of even out between heads and tails. But after 200 tosses, I would expect that the relative frequency of heads would be close to tails. In other words, we'd expect both frequency of heads and tails to be around 50%. As we flip the coin more and more times, we expect the relative frequency of heads to become closer and closer to 50% to the theoretical probability. Now notice we use the word around because you're right, it might not be exactly 50%, and it probably wouldn't be exactly 50%, but we'd expect it to be very close to 50%.